سيدنا العرشي ومداد كلماته اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا زدنا علما السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته الحمد لله. We were doing anger in the last class and we were understanding what is anger, the signs and symptoms. And then we understood the treatment of it through the Sunnah and the Quran and the Ahadith. And today, inshallah, I plan on continuing and wrapping this up. Um, okay, so we were on the treatments, and last time we finished about be humble, right? So be humble, lower your ego, be hasty to apologize if you have had an incident or an episode of stuff. And also we talked about we also talked about the different treatments before this. उसमें से एक जो था कि you turn yourself away from the object of anger. And I was reading the Quran and I came upon Surah Yusuf, ayat number 84. And it said that he turned away from them, Yani Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, and said, how sad I am, Yusuf, and his eyes turned white with sorrow, and he was suppressing, or brackets में लिखा हुआ था, his anger and grief. So this happened when the stepbrothers of Yusuf alayhi salam came and told him that we've lost Yusuf, usko, wolf ate him. And he knew because he was a prophet that this was not true. But he was very sad, and what he did was he did not start screaming at the brothers. Okay, you are lying to me, this cannot happen, how could you be so careless? He just turned his face away from them. Remember, we talked about just remove yourself from the object of anger. And then he started supplicating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was the way of the prophets. I thought that this was a beautiful example of what we had discussed in class, and I thought I would share it with all of you. Okay, so we were talking about anger, and usme there is, we were talking about, did we talk about the dua? For the dua that we have to do for someone that we have insulted and maybe we are not in touch with them. So we do the dua, and we also do constant dua for ourselves. Now, the much awaited questions regarding passive aggressive. There is open aggression and what to do. But what if you are confronted with a situation where you cannot lash out? You're just feeling angry and you actually cannot express it. For example, let's talk about you. For example, go to a gym and there's someone working out and you bring your mat and that person already had the mat and that person is she's already on the treadmill. And you tell her that, are you going to be using this mat? She said, yes, I'll just be using this mat. So, please find yourself another place. And there is no other place. You just have this little tiny room and you're squished in with your mat and you're trying to work out. And, initially, though you're just थोड़ी देर के बाद you feel that you cannot even work out because you're feeling angry that this woman is not even using this space. She's on the treadmill and she's not even letting me use that space. And I mean, slowly and gradually, your workout turns into this constant thoughts that, why is this and why is that? And after some time, you just pick up your mat after the session, you give it a look which no one notices, and you go home. What happens after that? You're just constantly thinking, I should have said that, I should have done this, and the next time this happens, I'm going to do this and that. So this is a situation which we usually face. This can happen with a stranger, this can happen with someone in your family, this happens with our relatives, it happens sometimes with people close to us, where you actually cannot lash out and you just keep it in you at that time. But then that only leads to further anger It's everything that is bottled up inside you. So in this situation, what are we supposed to do? Number one, ये याद रखें कि जो ilm होता है ना forbearance. Another name for forbearance is also wisdom. Right, so they both are together. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Halim. There is no entity that has more forbearance than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Hudur sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a lot of forbearance and he had wisdom. When we are talking about human interactions, it is impossible for us to discuss all situations in one class or even in many classes because we have different kinds of situations. उसमें आपको अपनी you have to use your wisdom. Who is the person in front of you? What kind of relationship you are? What time? What moment in time are you? Or keeping all that in mind. For example, if it is a situation where you realize that I'm feeling like this, and how do I get rid of this situation? Number one, what you can do is now, the next time you encounter that, you question them on the issue, not how you feel. That's what we do with our spouses, with our children, in our relationships. Usually we focus on how we felt about the situation. You made me feel like this, and I felt I got so angry, and you just start focusing on your emotions. Where is the issue? The person starts reacting to your emotions because they will defend themselves. They are not going to say, oh, yes, this happened. They will try and make excuses for the way they made you feel, or they will not accept it. So, the focus, you need to remember that it is the issue on hand that you need to question them. For example, in this situation, if the person has kept a map, then you will not say that, you really pissed me off, and can you please do something about this map? So you are going to actually communicate the issue. How are you going to say it? Not the feelings. You're going to say, since you're not working out right now, is it possible that you can please remove this mat so I can work out here? And then see what the response is after that. Think at least you delivered your what you wanted to say at that time and not regret it later. Similarly, if you are in any situation with anybody, it is better to focus on that issue, not how you're feeling at that time. और इसी को कहते हैं कि आप अपने गुस्से को कंट्रोल करें. और हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की भी अपने एग्जांपल्स देखेंगे कि how beautifully he never focused on how he felt, how hurt he was, or on hurting the other person because he hurt you. Because this is what we do generally. We want to hurt them because they have just hurt us. Issue वहीं का वहीं रहता है. So just remember one word. Focus on the issue. Three words actually. Focus on the issue. And firm request with logic, not with emotions. This is very important. And also don't tell yourself it's fine when it's not. Because once it's not fine, it won't be fine. That thought will go was एक thought होता है, somebody made you feel bad, maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't have the intention. But होगा ये कि if you keep pushing it down and bottling up, then shaitan will come to you waswase, in form of waswasa and make the situation even worse than it actually was. And keep, probably multiplying it, maximizing it for you, and then giving you different scenarios which you didn't think at that time. So it keeps, in your mind, it keeps multiplying, multiplying, and it becomes bigger than it actually was. So the best thing to do is communicate, communicate, communicate. Even you asked a question last time, what do we do with our servants, right? अब उसके लिए ये है कि I was going to do this. We are here. I told you in the last class. What is this class? This is jihad. Jihad fil nafs. Right? And what is jihad? Is it easy? No. This jihad is actually tougher than going to the battlefield. This is constant, everyday striving. But the beauty of all of this is that when we realize to sit, we get up again. अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला ने हज़रत दाऊद अलैहिस्सलाम की तारीफ की है और कहा ज़लैल इन्नहु अव्वाब. Awwab means a person who keeps turning back, right? So we fall, we are mindful, we realize that we made a mistake, we हम किससे रुजू करते हैं, हम अल्लाह से रुजू करते हैं. Then we do istighfar, tawbah, we say, Allah, I think I exceeded my limits, I'll try harder. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then gives you the reward or gives you the sakinat or gives you the patience or whatever that it is that you're asking for. And then you are blessed with it. Okay, even and you are not rewarded on the result, you are rewarded on your niyyah. You're rewarded on your struggle. Sabr might come very easily to some, but it is very difficult for some. So the person, like Hazrat Omar radiallahu anhu, if it was more difficult for him, greater the reward for him. If it comes easy to someone who is by nature very, very relaxed, then obviously jiska nature bahut zyada is very bad tempered, and if they're trying for Allah's sake to work on it, then they will inshallah get more reward. So the beauty is that you are going to be rewarded for all your efforts, right? So this is the beauty of understanding that every time you fall, you actually realize that you have fallen from a standard that you set for yourself. And in this class, we are understanding what are the standards. So we understand what is the highest standard, where am I, where do I have to reach, and if I fall below this bar, what do I have to do to reach that standard? And this is called tazkiyah nafs. This is the tazkiyah of your nafs. And inshallah, we will discuss it later on how important this is from the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. Remember, we did this in the first class. Why are we doing all of this? Why are we going through all these exercises and understanding these diseases? Does anyone remember? قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. The one that will succeed is the one who will purify their nafs, right? Their nafs, their heart, their soul. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. And destroyed is the one who does not. So Alhamdulillah, we are actually now becoming conscious of this disease, and we're not taking it for granted. Even who are constantly doing this kind of are involved in this kind of a disease, and they're not even aware that it's a disease. They don't even know that it's killing them. It's destroying them. It's consuming them. Everyone around them. They have ruined their relationships. They have ruined their own nerves. Everyone around them. They don't even know. So yes, with servants, what we do is we do constant dua and we constantly struggle. We are humans. We will fall, we will make mistakes, but we need to be the awwab category, right? And we need to, or this is the beauty. Allah Ta'ala ne हमें इबादत के लिए पैदा किया, right? وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. What is it, brother? Is it only namaz? Like remember I told you that my namaz, मेरा जीना, मेरा मरना, हर चीज मेरे रब के लिए. तो हमारे जो your daily interactions, we are also beautifying them because they are also for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Buy one, get one free. I talk about how it's going to help you and how it's going to make our lives better. That is if you buy the for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then your akhirat, if you choose that, you will get the dunya. That is the beauty of it, right? So we were discussing these. So this is the tools for passive aggressive. This is just a generalized rule, but the easiest way to deal with passive aggression is communicate, right? Inshallah, you will learn with time what is the healthy way. And the easy formula is दूसरे की खैर ख्वाही सोच कर. To think better for the other person. Your reason for communicating is not to belittle. It is not to hurt. It is to solve the issue, right? And Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam never got angry for personal reasons. He never got angry for his own ego, right? So we do that, and a lot of introspection and a lot of self-talk. You see, when we are tied down with all these emotions, we are usually lashing out at people under subconsciously kuch hota hai, but we are just lashing out at people because we have not sat down, we have not written it down, we have not thought about it. What is giving me this anxiety? Why am I feeling like this? What happened? Talk to yourself, untie the knots, figure out what it is, be honest with yourself, and then try to solve it. right? You inshallah, once you see one, this is a practice. The more you do it, the more aware you become of yourself and your feelings, and you become more mindful, inshallah. Because remember that information, that whatever we're doing is all there in the books. Many books have been written, but the knowledge that we learn should transform us in a better way. If not, then it's just information. यहाँ से गया और it doesn't affect. If it's not going down to your heart, if it's not coming out as good deeds, if it's not transforming you, if it's not changing you, if it's not making your life better, then this information, then this knowledge will become useless. Okay, now I said that anger, remember, that is an essential quality of human creation. ठीक है, अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला ने हमारे अंदर अलहमहा फुजूरहा हमारे अंदर ये रखा है. This is an attribute we have, and it is not all bad if it is used in the right way. And also it is not prohibited. Today we are just going to quickly talk about in the ways that it is not prohibited. यानी कि anger is wajib. You can be angry in situations. ऐसा नहीं कि you're always going to be forgiving and you're always going to be thinking that maybe I was wrong. So I've listed down a few things. Number one, injustices. There was a woman that came to Huzzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam ke paas aati hai, and she says, my husband hit me. The Prophet said, go back to him and tell him you have my guarantee. She comes back and says, he hit me again. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gives her a piece of his cloth from his shirt and says, tell him, show him this and tell him you have my guarantee, you have my word, he meant to say he should not hit you. The third time she comes to him and tells him he still hit me. Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam got very angry. He raised his hands and he did dua against her husband. So this was the injustice, and Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not passive about it. He was actively making sure that this injustice is taken care of. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then there was the sale. Abu Mas'ud narrates that once he got so angry. Now, these Sahabas were human beings, right? Once he got so angry, he started whipping his slave, and he was in a fit of rage, and he kept whipping him, and kept whipping him. Dur se he says, in my rage, I heard a voice, Abu Mas'ud, Abu Mas'ud, Abu Mas'ud, somebody calling him from a very far distance. Because when you're angry, you can't even hear the other person. He kept lashing the slave. So Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam kept told him that and when he heard him very up close, because Musa was kept, calling him out and said, Allah has no right over you. What he meant to say was reprimanding him that what are you doing? Allah said, so he says, I dropped my whip and I got scared. So this was another incident. Imagine in Pura, there's a whole army going, and now you're going for war. Everyone is dressed up and in their, attire, iron clad and everything. And suddenly there is a bird that starts hovering around Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and she's complaining to him. So Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asks his army that who has made this bird white? Who has taken her eggs? That she is so worried. So he said, return the eggs. And he himself took the eggs and put it back and put them back. He said, put them back in the nest or somebody put it back. So the point was that in this, imagine who cares about a bird if you're going to fight a war and you're leading an army. But he was because he was mercy for all mankind, he even cared about a little bird. So don't reveal any act of kindness, be it anybody. Right? Also, we know the incident when there was a camel who was crying and complaining about his owner that he used to beat him up and starve him. His stomach was stuck to, because he wasn't getting food. So Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went up to the owner and said, you feed him because you are going to be accountable. So this was, these are just acts that we understand. These things made Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam very, very angry, right? And when he would get angry, you could see him, his nerve on his forehead, it would swell up, he would get red. But the Sahaba would know he's angry, but people would आम लोगों को पता नहीं चलता था. He would just put a smile even when he was angry. Once he was sitting with Bibi Aisha, and he was mentioning Bibi Aisha, and Bibi Aisha mentioning to her Bibi Khadija, and obviously she was a woman, she used to get jealous. And she said that Allah has given you something better. Why caught up in an old toothless woman? She was talking about Bibi Khadija. I mean, she was very young, and, you know. So Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam actually got up. He was very angry. It seemed like his hair just rose up. His face went red, and he said, Allah did not give me anything better than her. She was the mother of my children. She believed in me when no one else did. She supported me when I was alone. She comforted me in my most difficult times. And imagine, he was so angry. Bibi Aisha says, I've never seen him ever this angry. But what did he do? What did he tell his wife? He turned his anger into something very beautiful. He talked about maybe Khadija in a very nice way. He did not hurt her. He did not say something like that was very unintelligent of you. Why would you say something like that? Because usually हमारे तो ये pet words होते हैं. When someone offends us, then we just start attacking the person. He focused on the issue. Like I said, remember, he did not react to her emotions of jealousy. Remember when she even why would she tell us this? To remind us that they were Ummahatul Mu'mineen, but they were still women. They still had emotions. They were still human. And she wants us to learn that how to interact in such situations. So this was also a beautiful example where you turn your anger into something very beautiful. आपका कोई बच्चा आपसे नाराज होता है, but if you don't start lashing out, maybe you are trying to give them advice because you love them. So you tell them, I said that because I love you. You don't react to their reaction, right? So this was protecting someone else's dignity. You see, and then there's the incident of if. Does anyone know about it in Surah Nur? When Bibi Aisha was, there was a scandal about her. It's a very long, but I will just give you a little excerpt where the prophet comes to her and she says that I had cried so much that it seemed my liver had dried and her eyes were swollen. And he sat down with her and he asked her that if there is something, I mean, you tell us right now. So she said, Wallahu musta'an wa la ma tasifun. And these are the same words that Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam said that Allah will help me over what you are saying to me. She got up and she told them that she read this because she was trying to say that they are like acting like the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam. And they are, गलत तोहमत लगा रहे हैं उनके ऊपर. And then that is when she called upon Allah, and then Allah revealed the 10 ayahs of Surah Nur saying that she was innocent. When she was told to thank Rasul, she got very angry and said, I will thank the one who has proved my innocence. उस वक्त तो अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला ने लिखा या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू ला तरफऊ अस्वातकुम फौqa सौतिन नबी. This means that oh ye who believe, do not raise your voices in front of the prophet. राइट उस वक्त अल्लाह ताला ने कहा ये तो नहीं कहा कि वला तकुल लहू उफ अपने पेरेंट्स को उफ खाओ राइट ये वाली आयत इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में नहीं रिवील हुई थी. That means that she was angry about something and it was justified for her to be angry about something because her dignity was being, shaken and she was being accused of she didn't do. उस वक्त अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला ने ये आयतें नहीं नाज़िल की बल्कि उनके फेवर में सूरह नूर की वो 10 आयत नाज़िल की, राइट? और सूरह मुजादिला में when this woman comes complaining about her husband, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals the first ayahs of Surah Mujadila that Allah ने सुन ली है तुम्हारी बात. She was complaining about her husband. So in these contexts, this is rightful when a person gets angry. Imagine if there was no concept of anger. So how would people fight injustice? How would people fight corruption? How would people feel angry about someone's rights being taken away? Basic necessities, food, water, shelter, किसी का छिन रहा हो. You're seeing any kind of, act of injustice. तो ये है कि आप उसको अपने हाथ से रोकें. If you can't, hold it with your mind, then you say it with your mouth. If you can't do it, then at least hold it back in your heart. So if you don't have this emotion of anger, going to protect people, right? So in these situations, anger is allowed. There is an exception, right? And once Abu Dhar was a Sahaba and he called someone son of a black man. Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam tried to still have some days of Jahiliyyah in him. He got very angry about this because he was trying to belittle someone. Ibn Mas'ud, who was known, he was short and he had very tiny legs. Once he was, I think, they say the hadith says that he was on the tree and he was trying to cut some fruit and the wind blew and they could see his legs. So all the Sahaba started laughing because he had very tiny and short legs. So Rasul Sallallahu got very angry and said, don't make fun of Ibn Mas'ud. One leg will be heavier than Mount Uhud at the day of Qiyamah. So he defended his dignity. So in these situations, if a person is getting angry, if a person's ghira is, if it is threatened, then it is allowed for them to show anger. But we need to understand at the right time, at the right moment, and with the same intensity that is required. And this is where you will use your wisdom and practice. It will come to you. And then, of course, if we live, then we think, Alhamdulillah, Allah, this is a blessing from Allah that we even rely on, that we sit. Every day, if we are able to realize where we sit and we are able to fix it, this is the biggest blessing, right? So, like I said, all this exercise that we are going through, all this purification that we are going through, it needs to be done again and again and again. You keep striving, you keep working, you keep falling, and you keep getting up. That is going to be your, test, your jihad, and that is what you are going to be rewarded on, inshallah. Um, Even at Sulh Hudaybiyah, there was an incident where you know that the Sahabas they were going to Makkah and they were told by the Quraysh that you cannot enter Makkah. Imagine their feet, their shoes had melted with the rocks that they were going, the heat, and they had been dreaming of this. The Prophet saw a dream that they were going to do it. They had left their houses, they had left everything, and they end up there and they are told you can't enter, they were there in advance and they were not to go back. And they was with them, they beat those Sahaba in front of them and they took them to Makkah. Imagine their state of fit of anger. It is quoted that Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, his tolerance was greater than Hazrat Umar. But at this point, he was even more angry than Hazrat Umar. And Hazrat Umar kept saying that, didn't you dream of this? Aren't we on the right religion? And all the Sahaba kept quiet. Nobody told him that don't he was so angry. And he kept saying, is this victory? Is this real victory? Because the Kayana Nazarina Padah. Said, is this victory? He kept saying that all the way back. He was so angry. He asked the Prophet, did you not dream of this? The Prophet said, well, I did not dream of the year. So you see, these were situations where the Sahaba got very angry. Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam dealt with it with patience and he told them what to do, right? And then everyone followed. There was no back and forth and there were no arguments. Imagine a whole army, thousands, hundreds of people, and if they are all angry, so one can imagine what could have happened. Yeah, with we know people start breaking things and there's whole chaos. So this is how you lead by example. When you are leading by example like this, people around you, yes, they only your servants will notice that how if you are angry at something and they are expecting you to now laugh, how can you do? And there's waiting and you don't. So that itself will have more of an effect than if you were to lash out. They will feel guilty, right? So inshallah, we keep practicing this. And if you have any incidences where you have been victorious in doing that, so please share it with the class. And even cases where you have maybe not been so victorious, but don't give up and keep trying share that also. And if you have some other suggestions on how we can deal with this, because this is a very, very strong emotion, it takes the best of us. And so, with this, inshallah, we are going to end this here. I hope we have covered everything. Now, I think it's time for us to have a little discussion on all these, all the classes that we had, a little recap. And if you have any questions, let's have them. People, my online students can type them, and my on-site students can just raise their hands and then let's address them, inshallah. Yes, can I please have your name? Because I can see the on-site students with their names, but the online, I just know them by their faces. So can I, what is your name, please? Islam? Ikra, yes. Sorry, question. Communicating with feelings and issue. So, sometimes that feeling and the issue are so interconnected. It's really difficult at that time. And even for you were given us some tips in the previous class that we can move around it on. Feel like the feelings kind of get ingrained within the issue. So, can we like discuss the issues, like the feelings a little bit? Because it could be difficult under like I don't know, just a little bit of guidance on it. I said when you are angry, don't talk. Yeah. Don't talk when you are angry. You move yourself away from the object of anger. You give yourself to a place where you can think. So if this is not available that it will happen. Each of the situation, it can take you a day, it can take you 2 days, 3 days, even 4 days to come out of it. So till that time, till you are not sure about your how you are feeling about it, I think you should not communicate it because then you will eventually end up lashing out, right? So it's and then you once you decide it for yourself, you can write it down or you can think, discuss it with someone. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu would always take exchange. You can exchange notes with someone that this is how I'm feeling. What should I do? Why do I feel like this? And just talking to someone you trust, not the person you are angry with, will help you sort out your own whatever is going on in your mind. So once you've done that and you're clear that okay, this thing and this upset me. So the best thing that you do it, how you confront the person is that you say that this is the issue, and then this is how it made me feel. Okay, if you deliver it like that this is the issue, and then you say how it made you feel, then it's very clear to the other person that you're not attacking them. It's the issue that made you feel like that. Maybe they say, that's not what I meant. And then suddenly you're like, really? You know what I mean? Is that clear? So you don't have a conversation before you are clear about your emotions and how you feel about इंशाल्लाह एंड उसके दौरान आपने बहुत ज्यादा दुआ करनी because that is the time you are in direct your ruju with Allah will help you a lot. You do lots of dua, you do lots of wudu, you ask Allah that help me. This is and then inshallah this is your ibadah. Right? And so this also becomes your hadith ki you do this and Allah will raise you in your status, inshallah. Right? Yes. Like the other person is on how much you can. This class is we are focusing on what we can do with ourselves because yes, that happens, but we don't. That is another a whole new Pandora box that we will open. So, I yes, then you give them time, right? You give them time and you keep communicating. Maybe that's not a good time, maybe you find a good time. And then you follow the sunnah of the Prophet. What did he do? He tried to make his enemies his friends. So if someone's being your enemy, you first befriend them. And then you tell them that, what, that day, and, I just wanted to talk to you about it, but you were not open. Maybe this is a good time. And you keep trying and you do lots of dua. And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sorry, He hears, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will soften their heart. Obviously, there are situations where it might be a dead end. So in that situation, that's a different situation. But yeah, that at least you will know that you did the right thing. If the person doesn't communicate, then at least you are there standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I tried, they did it. Because when you stand at the day of Qiyamah, you're better off being the Mazloom than the Zalim, right? So make sure that you don't come in that category and you do your best. And inshallah, I have seen it. It takes time, but people do it. You just have to be very steadfast. Your name again, I will forget them, but at least we get into the list. Hunza? Noor Jahan. Right, Noor Jahan. Anybody else? Just see my goodness. I just want to add that you said that if you want to give to a person, you can trust. So that person is also, it's quite responsibility on him or her. Like, he should not pump you. Because if you tell him an issue and he is pumping you, then your anger is going to decay more. Yes. So it's a responsibility on the person you choose to pacify you and to make you calm and to talk out things with you and hear you out. So best of that persons also attended a Tazkiya class. Okay. Because you see a lot of people, I'll tell you this, a lot of people, they do it out of love. They don't know how they are harming you. They are not keeping Allah, they're not keeping the sunnah. They're not doing it intentionally, they're doing it out of love, maybe, or care. It's just something that we do, right? So we need to be, now that you have attended this class, now you know, Alhamdulillah, if you keep practicing and if you have a diary and you keep reviewing your notes, I don't even think you will need anyone because you will know what you have. You have the steps, you know what you have to do, and Allah will find a way for you. But yes, like I said, for parents, wisdom, you need to go to a person you trust. Sometimes it's best not to tell them the name. So it doesn't come under person. You tell them this is my situation. How do you think? What do you think has happened? And this, and not necessarily, if you the person is talking to you, that means that Alhamdulillah, you are that mindful of a person to know that someone is pumping. A lot of people don't even know that someone. They will, okay, really. So this is also awareness. This is also another level. Okay. There's a question in the chat. Okay, Zara Haq has a question. What is a subtle form of passive aggression that we may think we are not doing? I think the concept is not 100% clear. The concept of passive aggression is it's a whole subject, it's a whole science. I just touched upon it in 10 minutes. It's impossible for me to explain, but just passive aggressive is just one form of anger where you are not lashing out, you're keeping it in your heart. The whole point of tazkiyah, clarifying and purifying your soul, is how to rid yourself of this disease so that you can focus on ibadah, you can have a clear heart, and you do not end up gossiping about the person, you do not end up bitter. Remember the soil experiment that we did? The whole point is to rid yourself of all the negativity, of all the negative emotions. Once you have rid yourself, then you are able to beautify yourself other nicer things such as forgiveness or patience, right? So aggression can also come, like, for example, if I'm not lashing out, but I'm shutting the door, like, really hard, or it's coming out some other way. Like, remember, I said this in the last, I was talking about teenagers, and I said, how do they show it? They raise their eyes, they tap their toes, and shrug their shoulders. You look at them, they look right, they look left, they don't want to listen to you. These are all ways of showing that they don't reply, they're very short. You give, even we do that with our spouses at times, you know that we are angry with, we just give very short answers. Sometimes just pretending we didn't listen. So this is all forms of anger that you are not seeing it, but you are feeling it. You have to deal with it, right? I hope that was clear. So inshallah, if you have any more questions, we will start a new form of disease that also affects our hearts. in the next class, inshallah. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Subhanaka wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.